Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, October 28th, and today we're going to do an ETF review, a high yield ETF review, one that we actually never talked about on this channel, or not really. And to be honest, I don't know, I just never had the chance to. It's been growing in popularity if you're on Twitter, X, YouTube, right? More and more people are talking about it. And when I looked into it, the performance, I was very impressed. We'll just say that with the fund. And I'm always impressed with seeing, the fund manager, Nicholas. He's everywhere. Like you see him on CNBC, you see him on X responding. So this is definitely worth a review. So again, a lot of this I'm looking at for the first time. Some of it I tried to prepare in advance, and then anyway, let's just get to it. So we're on the website, right on the main website. It's nicholasx.com. So if you go over here, you can see it says XFunds. So that's kind of the name of their ETFs, XFunds. And if you scroll down here, you'll see they basically have three. The Nicholas Fixed Income Alternative ETF, FIOX, the Nicholas Global Equity and Income ETF, GIOX, and then the one we're talking about today, Nicholas Crypto Income ETF, because why not? Why not crypto, of course, right? BLOX. Love the name. Love the ticker. The ticker alone just makes it worth it. And then it just talks about, you got to love this, the guy with the mustache, and, he's all jacked up. So this is you're already, at least I already enjoy this fund just by looking at the page. It looks like a fun fund. So one thing to note, though, when you click the team, there's David Nicholas. You guys, if you're on X, you probably have seen him. Jay is actually, the portfolio manager. So Title actually runs the fund. All right. As does Scott, and there's Chris. We met him. Well, I think he was at the NASDAQ. Actually, he was at the New York Stock Exchange, but another good dude. Haven't met David though. Hope to meet him someday. But anyway, these are the people. This is the team. So obviously, Title is behind the BLOX fund. Okay. So if you go to the drop down, you'll see, yes, there's only three funds. They've been around, I think, just this year. So I haven't really looked into the other funds, but we're just going to focus on BLOX today. They got the little fancy X. Looks like a Twitter X, right? But anyway, we see here the fund summary. BLOX is an actively managed exchange-traded fund that provides exposure to blockchain, blah, 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 blah. I mean, just think of it as, again, another options income ETF, but this one, it's based on a basket of crypto. All right. Now, here's a detail of the objective. Again, that's right at the top. You can see the focus is Bitcoin plus Ethereum, plus crypto industry companies. And then, of course, weekly income. Of course, why not? We got to get paid weekly, or else what the hell is the point? So moving on here, again, another mustache. There we go. Keep the mustache, ditch the fiat. Okay. There we go. Fund inception, June 16th. Again, very not around that long. Again, it has done well, but it's a very short period. So you have to keep that in mind when judging, the performance. All right. Expense ratio sits at 1.03%. That's kind of in line with what we expect. The total net assets, or as we say, assets under management, 186 million. So rather small in the midst of the high yield space. Although, again, it's growing, I'm sure, and it's going to probably, be at 500 mil before you know it. Here's the distribution detail from the website. If you just go from the bottom, that's the earliest, to the top, the latest, you can see, all right, 14, 15. It's pretty consistent as far as the weekly payments are concerned. So that's always a good thing. And then there's the future distribution schedule. And then you get into the holdings, which, of course, I downloaded into a spreadsheet, so we will cover it there. And And then, of course, there's the fund documents. Now, I have the prospectus up. Just keep in mind, it's not highlighted. It's not pretty like it usually is. So we're just going to skim through. Nothing like I really used to. We're just going to do the hot topics. So we'll go through the prospectus, and then we'll look at the holdings, right? See how, what they're holding, how far out of the money, this and that, the other thing. And then we'll do some charting, right? We'll use stock analysis to look at the fund, how it's performed, and then we'll compare it against other funds, that are, we'll say, competitors. All right. So anyway, here's the prospectus. So if I go to the top, I'll try to look at this a little in advance. Didn't want to completely waste your guys' time. But here's obviously the top, XFunds, Nicholas Wealth. Great. All right. This is filed, August 13th, 2025. That's fine. Dated June 10th. That's fine. Great. Wonderful. All right. There's the little index right there. All right. Then right off the bat, the expense ratio. But right at the top again, let's look at this. The investment objective. This is always important to see how they word it. Now, he words this. The Nicholas Crypto Income ETF primary investment objective to seek capital appreciation. What? You're going to tell me the first sentence says seek capital appreciation on an income fund? Again, that's interesting. Maybe that's why their chart is looking good, because their focus is primarily capital appreciation. And then the fund's secondary investment objective is to seek current income. And they pay a good income. They pay a good yield. It's not like they don't, but it's not 100%, but but they're trying to first seek capital appreciation and then seek income. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Again, a lot of people that are into some of these high yield funds, they're like salty about their capital going down. So this is probably something that they like to see, is my guess. And then I guess, everyone still wants the income. Everyone wants everything. You can't have everything, right? There has to be a healthy balance in between, and you have to find the appropriate fund that fits what exactly you want, right? You can't just yield 100% and expect 100% capital appreciation or whatever, right? You can't, it's not that simple, right? You have to be realistic in your expectations with every fund, right? So again, that's why I'm going to try to talk about more funds too. Again, this is one that it's been on the radar for me for a while, but I'm happy to finally talk about it. So let's keep going. Let's stop get into that. But you can see here, the fund's investment advisor, title investments. Okay. But we already saw that based on the website. And then here's the principal investment strategies, the actively managed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. We know that. Okay. Equity portfolio. It's holding equity shares of companies that have principal business activities in the crypto asset industry, referred here in crypto industry companies. Okay. Crypto portfolio, blah, blah, blah. Select U.S. listed exchange traded fund, blah, blah, blah. Okay, nothing. And then here it says options overlay, generating income through an options portfolio, labeled the option strategies, which involve using options contracts and, more blah, blah, blah. All right. Equity portfolio. Again, it just basically they hold crypto stuff. That's really all you need to know. Crypto portfolio. The underlying fund may include both an underlying fund that invests directly in Bitcoin. So they can invest directly in Bitcoin, huh? Or Ether as its primary underlying asset, and an underlying fund that invests indirectly in Bitcoin, or either via derivatives contracts. Okay, good to know. Synthetic covered call strategy. So it looks like, they may do a synthetic covered call strategy, which for those of you that may not be familiar, that's pretty much mimicking the movement of the underlying through an options contract, or shall I say options contracts, through buying a call, selling a put, same strike price, same expiration date. So that's kind of the general understanding of that. Let's see, the investor, the fund. It just says like When it's a synthetic, that means it does not own the underlying. But again, this is just one type of strategy. They can pretty much, from what I've read, which we'll get into, not too much detail, but looks like they could do anything. That's the moral of the story here. The fund can do anything. Indirect, okay, credit call spreads. Okay, they can do credit call spreads, which most of us are very familiar with that. And then more options overlay. And then it talks about writing covered calls, collars, calendar call spreads, which again, we're not going to get too into the weeds on that, but feel free to just Google that to understand it, as it is important to understand what they're doing. Here's some more stuff here. Again, this is a 37-page document, which anyone can access directly from the website. Every single ETF will have a prospectus because this is what they have to go by, right? This is important to understand. This is important to read. And that way, this is the strategy. This is what I'm investing in. What we got? What we got? What do you do? What do you say? Let's see. K-Man. It's the K-Man, right? It's Kramer. Tax risk. And obviously, a lot of these, they have big sections on risk. Because why? Well, they have to save their ass, right? So let's keep going. Risk. Yes, it's risky. It's very risky. Okay, we know that. Government. Okay, it probably just says they can invest in government bonds. Here's where it says the investment advisor is Title Investments, sub-advisor, Nicholas Wealth, LLC. And here's about David Nicholas. He's the founder and president of Nicholas Wealth, has been a portfolio manager of the fund and subsidiaries since their inception. Okay, and there's talks about Jay, and then Scott, and then Chris. Okay, cool. All right. Crypto asset exposure, Bitcoin description. Again, we're not going to go through all this crap. I'm just kind of skimming through in case something sticks out. All right, they're talking about selling calls, selling credit call spreads, selling diagonal call spreads, cash secured, out of the money put selling calendar call spreads, selling collars, and blah, 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 right? So like I said, they're an options fiesta here. And we'll take a look at the holdings. That's really what matters. When we look at the holdings, we can try to understand what's going on there. Here's more about risks. Again, I'm actually skimming through the whole thing. I'm sure everyone's dizzy. Look away. Let's see. Risk. This talks about Nicholas Wealth, LLC. Okay, great, cool. There's about Nicholas. We should read about him. He's the man, right? He's the man of the ETF. Mr. Nicholas is the CEO and founder of Nicholas Wealth. Mr. Nicholas has over 18 years experience in the financial industry. Prior to founding Nicholas Wealth in 2016, Mr. Nicholas spent 4 years as the president and founder of Nicholas and Company, Inc., where he provided insurance and capital preservation strategies to retirees. Mr. Nicholas received his Bachelor's of Business Administration in Finance from Kennesaw State University and a master's degree in financial planning from the University of Georgia. Okay. We're all mostly familiar with Jay, Scott, and Chris, but if you're not, feel free to just read that yourself. Obviously, you have to pull it up yourself. Dividends and distributions, great. Taxes, yeah, everyone loves taxes, right? Tax. Distribution, blah, blah, blah. Oh my goodness, this is a lot of words, right? All right, so are we at the end? All right, then there's the information on the advisor, the sub-advisor, the distributor, the administrator, the custodian, the blah, 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 blah. All right, I think that's enough for one prospectus. Now we get to the fun part. We get to the spreadsheet. All right, so luckily for you spreadsheet nerds out there, they're easy to pull the holdings automatically via the import data formula. Not, again, so many funds, so many websites, so many website updates. It's really hard. Obviously, you could just download the holdings, but in the world of content creation, it is helpful when you can easily download them looking, via formula. So here's the download. And then, again, we're going to calculate what's out of the money and what's not. But, obviously, when it comes to calls, strike price would be above the market price. And when it comes to puts, it's when the strike price is below the market price. The definition of out of the money. Again, so before we get to this spreadsheet. All right, so let's take a look. So again, this is the download of the holding. It shows 1027. I'm not quite sure if this is the download at the end of the closing on 1027 or the morning of. I assume they update it daily. So again, YieldMax, when they show the date, they would show 1028, like if this was representative of the close from yesterday. So I don't know. But anyway, let's see what they're holding. Again, you'll see all the holdings here. I'm going to scroll to the right because I try to simplify it and pull exactly what we want. So here's what you're going to see, right? So real quick, when we just pull the ticker and there's nothing else, that means they own the underlying. All right. When you just see the stock ticker here and the stock ticker there. So it looks like they own the underlying in almost every scenario, right? HODL just chilling there. Hut, Iron. Come on, Irene. All right, so let's go. All right, so basically, yeah, it looks like they own the underlying in every example. Although, yeah, they can do synthetic positions. But again, there's a number of contracts, and of course, maybe there is a synthetic baked in there somewhere that we don't see. But let's just focus here. So they own BMNR. Again, volatile as hell, 106% IV. So what are they doing here? Again, they got a P. So we got a, actually, I didn't do the signage for the transaction. Is put type. You want to do buy. Yeah, I gotta add one more column for you guys. This would be, I think, this would be type, right? Or vice versa. I don't freaking know. All right, so we're gonna do equals if this is greater than 0, then we're putting buy. If not, we're going to do sell. All right. All right. So we'll take a look now. Because again, if it's positive here, that means, because once you buy something, the expense is out the door. So now you can't lose any money. You can only make money. So if you have a positive amount, then that should represent a buying position, a bought position. And conversely here, selling, when you sell something, you're going to get a credit. When you sell a put, sell a call, you got a credit. You already got it. All right. Now it's a matter of how much, like if you were to close it today, how much would it cost you to close? Right. And that's why that's a negative amount. All right. Hopefully that made sense. But let's just get to it. All right. That's what we're here for. BMNR. So they're buying a put, $46. So you could see they buy puts. So let's just focus on that right now. They buy puts. Why do we love Ulti lately? They buy puts. We are liking the downside protection on Ulti, right? Because when the market tanks, usually, some of these funds, when they have a synthetic position, and that's it, no collar, right? Again, will be the collar part, buying the put. They just go down with the underlying. And sometimes with these high volatile stocks, when they go down, they go down. So this is good to see. They buy puts. All right, that's interesting. And then here they sold a put, $49.50. Current price of BMNR, $53. So that's 8% out of the money. Okay, great. But when does it expire? All right, let me get rid of cash. Does not count, so we'll get rid of that and get rid of that. All right, so again, cash. It just says cash. All right, so I didn't pull the expiration date. Let me just check. Is everything expiring this Friday, 10/31, 10/31, 10/31? I just don't want to keep worrying about the date. I can make a formula for the date too, but I just did not. All right, so yes, everything expires this week. So it looks like they do weekly options. Actually, I didn't see anything in the prospectus that talked about that, but whatever. So what does that mean? Again, this put that they're selling, it's cheap. Gonna be cheap to close. Again, this thing is super volatile. So with the time value left, which is what today's only freaking Tuesday. You got 4 days. Obviously, it's not, too cheap to close. So they're probably just gonna let this ride. The buy put, the 46. Again, the stock being at 53. This is probably not going to be needed unless, again, crypto tanks. Which, if I look at the pre-market, we're a little red on some, but not enough to matter. All right, so that's just one transaction. Then we got all this. So we got Cypher, right? But let's see, Cypher mining. So they own the underlying. Okay, great. 476,780 shares. And then they got all this mishmash. All right. But again, we'll just go over here to try to understand it. Buy put, sell put, buy put, sell put. So it's a put party for sure for Cypher mining. We may want to do this so we can just easily tell what the hell's what. It's good to border things out here. So again, like, what are they doing? They're buying puts for downside protection, more there, and then they're selling puts to collect the premium. Pretty simple. Again, I want to check. Yeah, same number of contracts up there, and if I count here, if I add up all the contracts, they actually are buying a put. They are not buying a put on the. Oh, no, here it is. Duh. No, they are buying a put on the full position. All right. So it looks like they're kind of doing what Ulti does. And, every put that they sell will have a corresponding buy put for the downside protection. All right. Let's move on. They got Coinbase. Ooh, again, this is crypto. Everything about this freaking fund is crypto. If you don't like crypto, then you don't like BLOX. BLOX. All right. Let's see what they got going on here. They own the underlying. We're not even going to look at that. We know that. Buying puts, selling puts. Okay, great. And they're out of the money. Again, the market's been really good. So when you sell puts and the market's up, that's fine. That's great. Now, selling a put, yes, that means they are collecting the premium, right? But, if you look at Granite shares, right, when you sell a put and that's all they do, that's it. That's the upside, the premium. However, they own the underlying, and when the underlying goes up, guess what's going up? We go up. So again, interesting strategy here. If you think about it, now let's think about this. So they own the underlying, and they're selling puts, but they're also buying puts. So the collateral that they need is actually, it's only the net of the strike prices between the sell and the buy put. So it's not like they need too much collateral, because again, I'm worried about that now because they own the underlying, right? Because since they're buying the underlying, they're not going to have a lot in treasuries or whatnot. So they're probably, whatever that gap is, whatever that collateral required, it's either going to be held in cash, which again, it won't be as much as you expect, like, when you see in the YieldMax fund, because they don't own the underlying. So most of their money here will go to the underlying, and then of course they'll hold the collateral in cash for the puts. So far, again, they do calls too. You'll see that that's coming up. Again, I haven't really examined these too much, but we're getting there. Circle, hi Circle, buy put. All right, buy put, sell put. Okay, same thing. Nothing new here. So again, selling puts and then buying puts for the downside protection. Some call it credit put spread. Some call it, bull put spread. Again, there's a name for everything. There's 50,000 names for every single transaction. I call it a puttity-doo-dah. All right, let's keep going. We got CoreWeave here. Selling puts, buying puts. All right, nothing new there. I'm just going to pass through. Okay, this is how they own Ethereum. They own Ethereum through Ether. All right, iShares Ethereum Trust. Okay, I can dig that. Can you? All right. So let's block this sucker off. Let's see what they're doing. They're selling a call. Oh boy, selling a call. All right. First, let's look. They own the underlying. That's great. That's fine. It's actually 9% of the portfolio too. Good to know. Good to know. And they're selling calls on, yep, the full position. And how do you know? Well, if you look, here's the the number of contracts, 5,773, right? How many shares do they own? 577,000. So if you add 2 zeros here, you get the same thing, hence 100 shares per contract, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, they're selling calls in the full position. They're selling calls at what? 31 strike. Oh, they in the money. Only 2% in the money though. And they are buying a call, credit call spreads, right? Remember that? Remember that? So in case they get capiti duda, which right now they are kind of capiti duda, this will help them capture, that upside. So they're not really capped per se. They are limited on the upside because they're selling calls. However, since they're doing credit call spreads, this is why I'm starting to see now why this fund is performing as well as it has. They're not getting the interest from the treasuries because there's not that much money to put in there, but we'll be freaking doodah, right? Eventually the interest rate's going to go down anyway. All right, so what the heck is this? FBTC. It looks like this is the Bitcoin exposure through Fidelity. So wowza, 14% of the portfolio. I'm not sure if it's worded anywhere where they talk about how much is allocated to Bitcoin. But that's a lot, 15% of the portfolio. And then again, what are they doing? Let's see. They're selling calls. All right. So they're selling calls. Like here's a 98.50 strike. Holy, what the heck? FBTC. No freaking way. I mean, really, brah? Really, brah? I mean, I can't. I don't know. I don't know if I'm reading this right or if I'm pulling this right, but this is way out of the money. Wow. It's only worth 80 cents, so that makes sense. So maybe they're not shooting for the stars on this premium. They're selling calls, which again, this is a little crazy, 85% out of the money. Is it pulling FBTC? What the heck? Hey, it says what it says. Let me feel free to correct me if anyone believes it's otherwise, but we are 86% out of the money. I think we're safe. I think we're gonna win this one. Again, they expire on Friday, 10/31. But yeah, okay. We're gonna collect whatever premium that paid, which is probably not that much, and we're gonna probably close it for chump change. All right, let's look at GLXY. How you doing? No, how you doing? This is Galaxy Digital, whatever the hell they do. I don't even know. They own the underlying. They're selling puts here, and then they're buying puts. Same thing. Again, credit put spreads. If you want to sound cool, there's the name, right? Credit put spreads or bull credit spreads or whatever the frig, bull puts credit, blah, 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 blah. All right, here's Van X. More Bitcoin exposure. Look at this. Bitcoin ETF. Ticker. Where's the ticker? HODL. Ticker is HODL. 14% of the portfolio. And guess what? They own the underlying. Not a options contract in sight. Where is the options contract for HODL? Van Eck. Again, we could our sorting could be screwed up. Their strategy, no. Hey, not many holdings, which I like too. Makes it easier to cover. But yeah, I'm just showing that they own HODL, Soul Strategies Inc. Van Eck ETF. I don't know what the hell this name is. Again, a little funky stuff. Current, what, 547? Damn. IV is 46%, not volatile at all, really. Okay. All right, here we go. Robinhood, man. Robinhood has been doing so well. Maybe this is why they're doing so well, because they own freaking Robinhood, right? All you got to do is buy Robinhood and you make money. All right, so let's see. They own the underlying of Robinhood. Makes sense. Yep. And they buy and sell puts. All right, same old story there. Nothing new. And, Robinhood's been going up. So if you look, the current price is 145. We're selling put 123, 136, 140. They're all doing well. Again, selling puts is typically a bullish play, obviously, but we do have the downside protection in case Robinhood decides to go tankity-doo-dah. That will protect our downside. So, nothing to complain about. Just a fun whooping ass. This is pretty much what I see right here. All right. Now we go to Hut, not Pizza Hut, Hut 8. We see this fund a lot in Ulti, I think. What are they doing? Well, again, look at this volatility, 131%. Damn, bro. Damn. What are they doing? They're selling puts, buying puts. Nothing new. Okay. I'm not going to bore you guys to death. And then here's Iron buying and selling puts. Here's Mara buying and selling puts. Here's MBTX. This is, what is this? Are they doing like a credit call spread here in MBTX, whatever the hell that is? That's a US Bitcoin US index. So they don't own, this thing is funky. I've seen this in the Ulti fund too. But all right, whatever. Let's keep going. MSTR, they own the underlying, and they're what? Selling puts, buying puts. Nvidia, selling puts, buying puts. Riot, selling puts, buying puts. And then last but not least, TSM, selling puts, buying puts. So if you look here, they have a lot of volatile suckers right here. Let's check out the average. I'm going to go that, and we're just going to go all the way up. Okay. Sorry, I'll get the comment at the end. I'm just trying to get through this review. The average did not work. Do we have an error? Yes, we do. This is the we don't have an if error in this formula. Do it later. All right, there was another not applicable. What was this one? Oh, this is cash. Okay, so what's our average IV? Wow, look at that. Our average IV on this fund is 95%. So that's good. Again, the assets under management, 187 mil. Does that tie into the website? What did they show on the website? Yeah, about 186.3 mil. So that makes sense. And then the NAV, 2581. Let's check the website on that too. 25.89 closing price. Where's the NAV? 25.79. Close enough, whatever. And I was trying to look up the launch price. They launched on June 16th. It shows 1936, but I had to add a +1 because it wasn't pulling up June. It only pulled up June 17th. So my guess is they launched at 20. And look at the price. Look at the price, guys. They're at $25. So they pay out a weekly dividend. They launched at 20. They're sitting $5, more than $5 above that launch price. I mean, that's pretty freaking sick if you think about it. In fact, speaking of weekly payments, let's look at the distributions. And don't mind this ridiculous order. I can't sort it. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it is what it is. All right. But don't even focus on the dates. It's a mishmash of dates, but focus on the yield. All right. So again, they launched at 20, right? They're at 25. So they're going up in price. But what are they paying us? No yield? Like, what is this? A joke? What are you paying us? SHD yield, right? Like we can't be dealing with this. We got to get some serious yield. No, they average a yield of 35%. Okay, I know this is insanity. It really is. And the more I'm covering this right now, the more I'm like, okay, why do I not own this? Why don't I own BLOX? Hold on, let me smack myself. All right, well, deserved smack right there. All right, but yeah, I mean, so far so good. And guess what? Let's look at the chart. Again, I've been using stock analysis. Like I said, I became an affiliate for them because I love their freaking website and they asked me to. So why not? Why not? So yeah, if you want to learn, if you want an easy website to compare stocks, I'm telling you, this is like one of the best. But yeah, and if you want to help out the channel, click on the link, click on the affiliate link. I'll put it in the top of the comments at the end of the video. But for now, let's take a look. So we're looking at BLOX. This is max. You can click 1 month, 6 months, whatever. But if you click max or all, same thing, right? It's 10 years, same thing. Although it actually does go out 10 years. But max will go out to when they launch, which you see down here, June 7th. It shows 1707. What the hell? What the hell did they launch at? Why does it say 1707? June 17th. Something's wrong there. Let's go back here. Is there any June dates? The first payment is what? July 3rd, and the price was 21. So, okay. Yeah, there's something's wrong. Unless it tanked. But no, there's no way. There's no way. All right. So now I don't know if we can fully, again, unless it tanked like right in the beginning, which June 20. You know what? Let me check. Yeah, let's do this. We could do June. Wait, what date am I pulling? I'm pulling the X date. So what they launched June 17th, 25. Let's do +1. This will be a price check via Google Sheets. And then we do this price over here. And then we'll drag that down. Okay, so it did drop. Okay, so they launched, again, probably at 20. They dropped to 18. Okay, so it did go down after launch. 18. I'm not sure where it hit 16. Maybe a timing of the day. All right, so for now, we're going to have to trust the chart then based on that. All right, but anyway, total return on BLOX, I am seeing has gone up 55%. I know that is ridiculous. All right, whoopie-doo. That's total return. That's with dividends reinvested, right? All right, well, let's look at stock price change, right? Percent change. I mean, damn. You know, Ron Simmons, damn. 38%. Like, all right. Maybe luck of the launch, right? Luck of the draw, timing's everything, right? But I don't know, man. Good to see. And then I did I'm trying to do a comparison now. This is a max comparison, of course, where it's going to pull like-minded funds. And for those of you, again, we're recording this live, but if you have any suggestions real quick right now to add to this comparison, let me know. I have BLOX compared to the Rex Shares Fund CEPI, CEPI, and the YieldMax Fund LFGY. All right. So to me, all of these funds, these are 3 crypto funds, a basket of funds, right? Chippy's appreciate the feedback, but that's in the that's a semiconductor ETF. We kind of need something that's in the crypto space, but not even just Bitcoin, like multiple crypto items. So I don't know if anything else comes to mind, but for now, if we just look at these three, I mean, it's not even close. Like it's really crazy. Like, yeah, Koi, I mean, what the heck is GDLC? I don't know what that fund is. Grayscale Coin says 5. All right, so maybe that owns 5 ETFs. I mean 5 funds. But regardless, it's on the bottom with the others. So, you know, again, it is what it is. Total domination right here. Let's look at price change. Again, domination. I don't know what else to say. Dividend growth. Not going to show up. All right. Dividends? No, it doesn't work. All right. So again, like, unless there's a screw up on the dollar down here, but I think that's again based on the day. It's real. You know what? Let's look up the last month. Okay, the last month they're still winning. How about? Well, they're only 6 months old, so it's really. All right. So every chart I'm really looking at. All right, let's just try IBIT. Do they beat IBIT? Okay. You said Koi. Someone said Koi before. I'll pull them up. And then, yes, Chippy has performed well. So fine. I'll compare that too. All right. So Chippy, all right, still down in the 20s. So again, it's insane. This is insane. Again, we can double check, triple check, double check, use various resources, make sure, this is all accurate, but it is what it is, man. Like what in tarnation. But the fund is just, it's doing well. And I think I just saw a question, someone said, why is it up? What's different? Well, a lot is different. If you saw the holdings, it's a strategy that it's pretty much doing everything. It owns the underlying. It's doing, selling calls, buying calls. It's selling puts, buying put. It's doing literally everything. But it does it, I guess, based on what they think is the right, time to do it. And they do sell weekly options, so they're collecting that juice, man. They're getting every single piece of premium, and they are capturing the upside through owning the underlying. Of course, when they sell calls, yeah, they're going to be capped a little bit, but they even have the buy call, the long call after it, so the credit call spread. But when they sell, even when they're selling the puts and the stock goes up, they're going to capture the premium plus the upside. But if it goes down, yeah, obviously they have the downside protection too. It's just it's a good fund. I mean, there's no way, I got nothing else to say about it. It's a good fund. The next question to me is, what is their margin maintenance? I would think 50%. I don't know. Does anyone know at the time? FBTC call. Yeah. Exactly. Like, I don't know. Someone double check that, please. But yeah, how it yeah, I can add WPay. Let's add WPay. All right, WPay. Where are they at? They're ended up down. What are they? These yellows are way too close. But WPay is up 15% in the same period. So again, there's nothing. The only thing close is Chippy, and Chippy's whooping ass. Chippy's a really good fund too. Any other takers? Anyone else want to challenge BLOX? It's like King of the Hill right now. Come on, bruh. What do you got? But yeah, man, it's I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want me to look at when it comes to BLOX? What are your thoughts? Let's hear it. Let's hear in the comments, guys. What's your feedback on BLOX? Are you a fan? Are you serious? 100% margin maintenance on Schwab. Okay, well, the good news is it's still new. It's out, well, new in their eyes, right? It came out in June. Sometimes Schwab does take a little bit. And you know what? Robinhood, yeah, it's awesome that it's low, but I don't trust Robinhood in their margin maintenance because they just keep changing it. BKCH. BK, have it your way. Global X blockchain ETF. What the hell is this? What the heck? When did this thing launch? All right, we have a winner. What? I don't even know what this is. BK blockchain. What did it say? BKCH. Global X blockchain ETF. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to look that one up on another day. But yeah, that just changed things. Woo-wee. Wow. Wowza. For sure. Is that, I'm guessing that's not an income ETF. That's probably some type of maybe leverage Bitcoin play. So wow. But anyway, yeah. So that's the update on BLOX. All right. Does that make sense? Any questions? Any questions, Cletus? Let's go look at the Bitcoin chart. 114,000. Okay. Down from yesterday, 115. So, but still looking good. It's bit and miner. Okay. Never heard. Yeah. Me neither. Never heard of it. But BKC, we'll have to look at that after. That's pretty insane. What else? Big brother is a big BLOX fan. Okay. BLOX is the best, no doubt. Okay. And yeah. Let's go though. All right. What else? Are we done? Are we done for the day? Should I do? Yeah, I'm not doing a second video. I don't have enough time. But I think, yeah, that's pretty easy. Again, quick ETF review of the fund BLOX, comparison to other ETFs. Why am I on this? And then obviously, again, yes, they have two other funds, which, I don't know if there's any interest, but, we could do something we could do another day. But yeah, pretty impressive. I like the strategy. I like that they're not limited to any one thing. Again, the 90% out of the money, if that's real, awesome. The fact that they're able to do that and they did that is hilarious in a way. So I don't know. I think it is. All right, let me check some comments and we'll probably call it a day. Yeah, there will be, yeah, for sure. So that means buy the Bitcoin, right? Buy the Bitcoin. Oh, 4% yield on that on that fund that whooped ass. XRP ETFs, nice video. Thank you. No, thank you, True Dog. I was wondering how, because I usually do these pre-recorded. In fact, I'm gonna post this as a pre-record too, because people don't see the videos unless they're videos. They only see the live once, so which is annoying. So that's why, like, my YouTube income has gone, it's basically got cut in half. But to be honest, my life, the ease of everything has been so much easier. So I'll take a pay cut for the ease. It's unfortunate, but again, I have to figure something out about the channel. BLOX is able to do leaps. Yeah, they had the synthetic mentioned in there too. There's DPC Dad. Good morning. What's going on? Good video over the weekend. Go check out Yield and Grace YouTube channel series with her father. I think it's gonna be every weekend. Generational Wealth or Generations of Wealth. I think that's the playlist name. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, exactly. Now that I've done it, the reason you're not seeing as much YieldMax, obviously, yeah, I got to a point. I started YouTube 6 years ago doing this, that, and the other thing. Then Tesla really put my channel on the map. And then I just started doing weekly coverage. And then it turned into daily. And then it turned into add this fund, add that fund. And then, it just got to a point where I was just like rolling with the train, man. That thing was rolling. The views were popping. People were pumped. I was working my ass off, pumping those trades out, but it's and it's fun. It was fun. I'm just not doing it like I used to, right? I'm just doing the coverage that's a little easier on myself, and I'm gonna give myself, because when I used to do the coverage like that, I could not do this. Like this day, Tuesday, this would have been filled up with talking about trades, but now I can talk about other funds finally. That's why I have the morning show now. That's why I have, again, that's why I do Granite shares, and I'll do other things too. So good morning, Venus. The target 50% yield and payout. Wow. Even better. That's freaking amazing. Yeah, I want to have him on. I got to have him on the morning show. But to be honest, I am booked up to the end of the year. I'm probably going to take January off, maybe even February, and just do like the morning show will be me talking about, I don't even know. I just want to break from interviews in January. So I'll do interviews up until the end of the year. And then after that, we'll figure it out. I will start booking, like someone asked me if I could book Howard Chan from Curve. So I'll do that. Oh, we'll see if he wants to get up at 6 a.m. I think David Nicholas said he would. I just haven't really maybe to follow up with him. But yeah, David Nicholas, if you're listening, we'll book something next year, early next year. Yeah, exactly. Everyone thought I was a paid shill anyway, right? SB, you could join me. You could join me in, I don't know. We got to have like a options duo, not a duo, like maybe like me, SB, M Cheese, and who's the other guy? I forget. Maybe like we could have like an options roundtable that we talk about maybe I don't know, but yeah, something to think about. We'll talk about it in the options channel. But we're slowing down. We're relaxing. Just chill, brah, chill. Any other questions? I probably should have put the music on. I'm just sitting here having coffee. This Monday morning show will be with Mike from Health and Wealth. Good dude. Met him in the city. It'll definitely be a fun interview. So I would recommend joining that one. Yep, exactly. Oh, SoFi. Thanks for the reminder. Anything out yet? Well, I did have their website up. I don't see anything there. I do have NASDAQ up. I don't see anything there. Yeah, I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to stay live, but whatever. All right. What else? In and out. Well, no. Earnings will be announced in 6 minutes, but the earnings call is in an hour. Well, at 8. But Mike likes Mike. There's a shocker. These mics, they stick together. There's so many damn mics in this space. It's crazy. But yeah, I think that's it, right? You got anything else, guys? Or are we going to end it? We're going to end it there. I think we'll end it here. As always, guys, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and this video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, what can we tell you? Maybe come back next time. Oh, yeah. I will ask. Actually, I'll make that the keyword, honestly. If you enjoy this content, you can hit the thumbs up on YouTube. You can hit the heart on X, or you can repost it on X or reshare it on YouTube. And that will help. It does. It helps. It helps. It helps go a long way. All right. Now, time for the keyword. So if you made it this far in the video and you want to prove it, you gotta say the keyword. In case you're wondering why I say it like that, Again, it's another Seinfeld reference. You have to say the baby. Get it? You have to say the K word. But anyway, the keyword today is if I make Tuesdays, or any day for that matter, or maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, ETF review day, what would the next ETF be? Like if I were to do just like I did today, just a quick review of the website, the prospectus, the underlyings, what ETF, again, any ETF. I don't even care. It doesn't have to be an income ETF. It could be anything. I know the name is Retire on Dividends, but I'm opening. I'm not limiting myself anymore to any specific thing. I'm going to talk about whatever. But obviously, if I don't like the fund, I probably won't talk about it. but yeah. So just leave that in. I know you guys are typing it live now, which is appreciated. But also, don't forget to type it again after I hit end video. You have to post it in the comments, or if it'll let you now, it'll probably let you know too, to post it in the comments. So, but yeah. So again, some stocks that are coming up: WPay, Bitwise. That's not a stock; it's a company. So which Bitwise fund? SMHX. What the hell is that? CLM. Oh, that's a tough one. Again, I'm not familiar with closed-ended funds too much, but I could try, of course. BK is that's the one that whooped ass, I think. Koi. Okay. Well, I cover Koi every Friday. Rec shares, yeah. I plan on doing a series, I think, of rec shares, so that'll come. Let's see. SoFi is climbing. Crap. Well, I guess that's okay. Again, we have I have a well, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it now. We'll talk about it in the options chat. CLM, you have not CLM or CRF. Yeah. Well, you know what? DPC Dad, I should have him on to explain these funds. I know you talked about them briefly. Are you well versed in them? ICOI. Ric Flair Fund? Hell yeah. Woo! All right, what else we got? That's it. I think we're done for the day. What do you guys think? Right? I think that's enough yip yap. So yeah, if you made it this far in the video, 18. Pay the piper. You got to get here earlier. We might have to do a wrestling show, maybe one morning. We'll just talk about wrestling, or we'll do wrestling impersonations. All right, so CRF. So if you know CRF, you could probably do CLM too, right? But yeah. Anyway, what else? That's it. I'm done. So if you made it this far in the video and you want to prove it, we're about at the hour now. Just type in, just let me know what ETFs you would like me to cover. And then we'll go from there. Sound good? All right. I'm not counting what's in the live comments, by the way. You have to do it in the after comments. All right. Oh, YieldMax declaration. Crap. I completely forgot. Group, what is this today? Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. All right. Here's YieldMax declaration. We got Chippy 46 cents, Feet 34, 5e 24, GPTY 32, LFGY 58, QDTY 27, RDTY 33, SDTY 22, Salty 61, Ulti 8. What? Ulti 8 cents. Wow. They did it. All right, YMAG 13 cents and YMAX 19 cents. I'll have to plug these in my spreadsheet after the fact, but I didn't even think about it. Oh my God. I forgot about the Tuesday declaration thing. Holy crap. But yeah, now we got to end it. So let me just say to all that have been watching live and to everyone that watched after the fact, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel, even though I'm changing things up. So, changing things up here and there. Things are changing. But yeah, thank you all for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. So that's all I got for today. And we shall talk tomorrow. I'll be ready. I'll cover YieldMax tomorrow because it'll be YieldMax announcement day anyway. So that'll be the Wednesday. Luckily, I'll be home anyway, so I could do the 6:55 announcement live with you guys. So tune in tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. I'll be back, and we shall talk. And then I'll probably do Roddy on the Thursday, and then I'll do Granite on the Friday. All right, so that'll be the schedule for the week. All right, sound good? I'm out of here. Later.